everyone. Today I will be teaching you how to create classes and objects in object-oriented programming. Let's have a quick overview about classes and objects. What are classes and objects? So, a class is a blueprint or template for creating objects. An object is an instance of a class that represents a real-world entity. These codes below are the example of that. The definition of class is it defines variables and methods, which also includes constructors, getters and setters, and access modifiers. As we said earlier, it acts as a blueprint for creating objects. Okay, so below is the example. Let's implement that. Okay, on my end, I created a project computer shop. My goal is to sell multiple computer builds in 3 categories: entry build, mid-level build, and the expensive build. Okay, let's create first the entry build. But in the entry build, I have multiple sets of monitors, multiple sets of mouse, multiple sets of keyboard and system unit. Okay, so instead of creating multiple classes with different values of the same variables, I will just create one class. Okay, to create a class, go to right click the package and then the Java class. Then name your class. Let's name it entry build. Okay, so the entry build are my cheap computer bundles. Okay, the variables that I will be using is the monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, and the system unit, all in string. Okay, because I have different brands of monitor, keyboard, mouse, and different specifications of system unit. Okay, so instead of creating, if I have multiple entry build packages or sets of computer builds, I will not create entry build 1 and then uh, declare this codes again. Instead, I will just create an object. Okay, how to create an object? So this is the blueprint. Okay, the class entry build. So take note that a class should start in a capital letter. Okay, and these are the variables that I will be using on my entry builds. Okay, so I have different kind of monitor, I have different kind of keyboard, I have different kind of mouse, and different kind of mix or components of the system unit. Okay, now each time that I will set a value for the monitor, keyboard, mouse, and system unit, I want the program to output all of the values of the monitor, keyboard, mouse, and system unit. So I will create a method. Again, as a review, the class contains everything. It contains the methods, contains the variables, etc. Okay, so let's create a method, void output specs. And then let's output the monitor. Monitor, yes. And then let's copy this, change this into keyboard, and then mouse, then system unit. And then let's replace the variables into its corresponding variables. Keyboard, then the mouse, system unit. Okay. As you can see, we did not assign values inside our entry build class. Why? Because we have different monitors, we have different keyboards, we have different mouse, and different system unit. Okay? In order for us to create a dynamic entry build class, we will create an object. Back to our presentation. So an object is created from a class using the new keyword. Each object has its own copy of class variables. This is an example of an object. Okay, this is the syntax. So student S1, this is user defined. Okay, and then new, the keyword, and then the student with a parenthesis that indicates a new instance. And then below, you can access the variables inside the student class. Let's implement that into our project. Excuse me. Let's go to our main method. Okay. Let's create a new object. Let's say entry build. The user defined object name, let's say entry build to avoid confusion. Let's say entry build 1 is equals to new entry build, indicating a new instance. Okay, note the spelling. Okay, so it refers to our class entry build. And then let's assign or let's access the variables inside the entry build class and then assign values on each variables. Okay, let's use our object entry build 1 and then dot. As you can see, the variables are now suggested. So the keyboard, monitor, mouse, system unit variables can be seen. So monitor, let's say Asus 19 inches. Let's copy that. Then let's replace it with keyboard, mouse, and the system unit. The keyboard is a generic keyboard. Generic. The mouse is generic. System unit is Core i3. It's like Intel Core i3 with 4 GB RAM. Okay. To output our entry build 1, let's call this method output specs. Okay, let's say entry build 1 dot output specs. If we run it, okay, you can now see the values of the monitor, keyboard, mouse, and the system unit. Now, as what I said earlier, we have different entry build. We are not just offering one build or one entry build. We have multiple entry build. Okay. So let's specify it. Entry build 1. Okay. We have another entry build. Okay, let's say copy this. Let's instantiate again another object, entry build 2, new entry build. Okay, and then use that object again. Entry build 2, and then monitor, and then let's say another brand, MSI 19 inches. And then again, let's just copy this. Then let's replace it with 2, since we are referring with our new object, entry build 2. And then let's use the same values, generic, and then the system unit. Instead of Intel, let's use AMD Ryzen 3. Okay, with 4 GB RAM. Now let's output again the specs using the same method. Okay, let's run it. Let's adjust this first. Okay, and then run. Okay, we forgot to add the LN for new line. Okay, let's rerun it. Okay, as you can see, the entry build 1 with the monitor Asus, keyboard generic, mouse generic, and the Intel Core i3 with 4 GB RAM. And then the entry build 2, MSI 19 inches, generic, and then the system unit is AMD Ryzen 3 with 4 GB RAM. Okay, so that is the example of classes and object. We created a single class and created 2 objects, the entry build 1 and the entry build 2. Each has different values but the same variable. Okay, they use the variable created in entry build class. That is our short discussion for classes and object. On our next discussion, we will tackle about constructors. We will tackle about access modifiers, encapsulation, and getters and setters. Okay, so thank you for watching this tutorial and see you on our next video.